Hey guys, thanks for joining me here today for a Morakniv Monday. And for Morakniv Monday today, we are going to be doing the Mora 711. The Mora 711 is the pretty much the standard size carbon steel blade in Mora's 700 series. There's several different knives. There's stainless, there's a little bit bigger than this. But the 700 series by Mora is characterized by their handles. You could see it there. It has a very grippy rubber handle. And this is, I had talked about actually I talk about it all the time. The Mora Robust has a very, very nice handle. One of the best handles in bushcraft knives, I think. Well, this 711 handle, I think, measures right up with it. It's a little more grippy. It has more grip to it. And if you could see, it almost has these little lines or grooves in there. And they work to grip your hand really, really well. I love the grip on these 711s. It has a little hint of a finger guard here, which I'm not the biggest fan of finger guards, but this one doesn't irritate me too much. Different positions, it holds well. Any different positions you want to hold the blade, and we'll do some carving and some little tasks here in a second and show you that. But I just wanted to give you a view of the Mora 711. It's a very beautiful blade. The blade itself is about 4 inches. The total overall length is about 9 inches. Thickness, I don't have measurements of the thickness, but I do have the Mora Classic number 2 here. My Mora Classic number 2 that I did a Morakniv Monday on. And as you might be able to see, they're very similar. So it's a pretty standard thickness for a Mora knife blade. And I think the weight is pretty standard, right around 4 ounces. I think it's 4.3 ounces. It comes with the standard Mora plastic sheath, but my sheath is from Joey at wildernesskydex. And I'm sorry that I can't show you the original sheath. Joey actually sent me this knife last year, and when he sent it to me, he sent it with his kydex. And I talk about him all the time, guys, but Joey is the best. He's a tremendous guy. His sheaths are awesome. He does fantastic work. He's a perfectionist when it comes to making sheaths. And I show his sheaths for Moras a lot, but he's a big knife guy, and he makes sheaths for all kinds of knives. He has hundreds of knives that he owns. He probably has the sheath. He probably has the knife of the sheath that you might want if you're thinking about picking up a kydex sheath. He probably has the knife and can make it for you. If he doesn't, all you got to do is reach out to him and he'll guide you on what to do to get that sheath made. Great sheaths. He's a very nice guy. We've become good friends over time, and I'll leave his eBay store down below. You can go over and say hi. You can check out what he has over there, and he'll treat you right. He's a very, very nice guy. Now, as far as the Mora 711, I mentioned that it comes with the standard hard plastic sheath. I don't mind Mora factory sheaths at all. I don't mind the hard plastic sheaths. It doesn't come with a sharpened spine. It's a rounded off spine, so you're not going to be able to carve wood or strike a ferro rod, but that's going to be easy to take care of, and we'll show you that. Scandinavian grind. And this is a beautiful blade. 1095 HighCarbonSteel, guys, just like other Mora knives. One of my favorite types of steels. So now that you got a look at it, and I talked a little bit about the handle, let me show you a couple things here. I don't know if you can see that, but you can get sparks off the sharp edge, regardless if it's rounded off or not. It's a piece of 1095 high carbon steel, and you will be able to get sparks. So if we take a piece of char cloth and lay it down as so, all we need to do is strike these sparks down onto our char cloth. And there we go, guys. All we need to do is throw that in our tinder bundle, and we have ourselves a fire. So, rounded spine or not, your flint or flint-like material doesn't care one way or another. If you strike it with a hard piece of rock, a rock that's harder than the 1095 high carbon steel, and you remove those particles, that's what you get. But this is one of my absolute favorite things to carve in the woods. This is a pot hook, so we can hang our pot over the fire. And Mora knives excel at these type of tasks. I don't know if you could see it there, but we're starting to develop a pot hook there, and what's good is it could slip right under. I can score right under that pot hook with this thin Scandinavian grind. And get nice purchase on that. Just clean it up a little bit here. Let's see what angle I'm at. And a lot of times, something simple like this, you don't need a baton, you don't need any other type of tools. Depending on the wood, of course. So our pot hook, we want it to hang, so we want to score underneath of that pot hook and clear out the wood. And there we go. You see that, guys? So I'm mindfully keeping all my pressure back against this piece of wood. Not downward pressure, but my pressure is back against here. My downward motion is actually nice and light, because I want to get those thin shavings, because they're the ones that are gonna catch. And you want them as long as can be. So if this was a little bit bigger of a piece of wood, like if we were out in the woods, I would start from much higher up. But being that we're working with such a small piece here, I'm just trying to get all the thin curls that I can. And then when I get down to this part, when I have a good amount of them here, a decent amount, I don't even know if I'd call that a good amount, then I start doing really small, thin, fine ones. because the way I do it is I put my ferro rod up against here, and this is the part that it's going to strike. So if it can strike the small, fine ones first, it's going to enable the fire to spread among these. And then of course we have all our little shavings that fell off that we want to save too. And I kind of hold it at an angle. If I go across like this, it'll work, but this way of doing it when holding it, I found the best way is to angle it. So I almost have them at like a V, and then I go up along the spine. And what I'm trying to catch is this bottom third right here. I like to use the whole blade. I like to sharpen all of this, but if I'm doing it this way, the holding style here, I just want to get that bottom third. And let's see, it's probably starting to work already. And my ferro rod's got to be around here somewhere. This is Nathan's Super Monster ferro rod, by the way. A nice hunk of ferrocerium here. So you can see right there, it's already starting to work. And I can feel the sharpness on each end. So once again, I'm holding it in my hand. This isn't the recommended way because it's not as easy as if you just baton this into a piece of wood. Check out my Morakniv 510 video. I baton it into a piece of wood and then I use both hands to do this. If not, if this is your only way, hold it like this, and then I have it at a V. See my V there? And I go upwards on the spine. Not even all the way up, because I'm only trying to get this little area here. That's all you really need. And then I can feel it starting to cut into new steel, because it'll catch. It's not just sliding off anymore, it's actually catching. And that's going to be perfect. Once it does that, you're in good shape. So then let's take our feather stick. Let me get a smaller one. Alright, that was the Super Monster ferro rod. I've now grabbed the thinner Monster ferro rod. Once again from Nathan. And the reason I like this one is because it sets on there perfectly. You can angle it the way they want, or I'm sorry, you can angle it the way that you want. And there we go, guys. So that's from a rounded spine, just for a few minutes on it with the mill file there. It's perfect with the ferro rod. And as far as scraping now, there it is, removing the bark for you. Once the bark is gone, it's going to give you those fine shavings. And those fine shavings are what you want for the base of your fire. And the reason I do just this area, I mean, it's fun to strike all the way up, but the reason I do just this area, that's all you really need. Just this little bottom third of the blade. Once it grips, it's going to tear off that ferrocerium material for you. Okay, one last thing I wanted to show you real quick, guys. This is the sharpening kit that I take into the field. I've showed it on a couple other videos. I'll throw this right in my pack. I always keep a small ferro rod right in the front, just for fun. You could never have enough ferro rods stashed away. This is the Maxpedition Mini, maybe? Something like that. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact pocket organizer this is, but it's the one that doesn't have the hook and loop up here for morale patches. Inside of this, I keep 2 DMT diamond diafold sharpening stones. So this one is coarse and fine. It's starting to wear off, but it's coarse and fine. This one is extra fine and extra extra fine. Now these are essentially for removing material. If I've done a lot of hard work and I need to remove the material, I'll use these. And they're just butterfly style. And you want to use 2 fingers on here. Now for the work that we've done here, very brief work, this thing is very, very sharp, and I've not even come close to the amount of hours to use this or put in the work to dull or damage or do anything to the blade at all. And I've been using this pretty hard for about a year. And it's still very, very sharp. I also keep in this sharpening kit a ceramic rod, I'm sorry. And I have 2 strops. One is for the black compound, if I'm a little harder on my knives in the field that particular day. And then the green compound strop. I have green right there. Because a lot of times with these Scandi grinds, especially 012 steel or 1095 high carbon steel, your knives are very easy to bring back. And I have the compound in this kit as well. So the green, I have green compound with me. And the black, I have some black. And black is more aggressive, it's going to remove more material. Something little like we did here, some very small tasks, the green is all you need, and it's going to hone your edge. That's all we're looking to do after something like this. Or I wouldn't even do it after something like this, but in the interest of showing, it's just a little grammar school ruler with a piece of leather taped on with double-sided tape. And if I'm in the field, all I'm going to do is just give it a quick strop. And that's going to bring back my edge in no time. And as I had mentioned, if I was doing more work and needed to remove material to actually sharpen the blade, I would use one of those diafold diamond sharpeners. Probably the extra fine and extra extra fine one, because I usually keep my knives in pretty sharp condition. I don't let them go at all. So whether I'm in the field, whether I just come back from the woods, whatever it may be, I'm always making sure that everything is nice and sharp at all times. So I don't have to quote unquote sharpen, I only need to hone. I only need to touch up. So being that this was sharp enough, another thing, you can do this after you right when you get a new blade, because the factory edges are sharp. Sometimes you just don't know how they treated the blade and how even they did their grinding when they got it to you. So stropping is never a bad idea. I strop all the time. I have bigger strops inside, like home strops, that I'm watching YouTube videos or I'm watching movies or now NFL football, I'm stropping while I'm watching it. In this kit, I also keep some magazine paper. And the reason for that is just to simply test out our sharpness. And as you can see, that thing's like a scalpel. So I appreciate you watching Mora Knife Monday this week, guys. That was the Mora 711. And we will talk to you again down the road. Great blade, by the way. I highly recommend it. Great handles on the 700 series, especially if you like a little finger guard, which I do not. But this one isn't obnoxious at all. It doesn't bother me. Under $20, probably about $15 sent right to your door. And if you want to add a Wilderness Kydex sheath to that, just let Joey know. He's the expert. I'll talk with you again soon, guys. Bye-bye.